This is just Zach and Spirit Show.
You talk about finding and discovering this knowledge, and a lot of people tend to find it through, that little red book, the How Brands Grow that Byron had put together with, like you said, a whole bunch of people back in 2010. It's funny that, you talk about being isolated and trying to find like-minded people, and it was quite difficult. I had that exact conversation with someone today, actually, who knows you quite well. Julian Fompret, is that how I pronounce his name?
Oh, yeah. So he's a French guy, Julien Fompret. Yeah,
that's
or
right.
At least that's, yeah. He helped me out with a few things. Yeah, that's great. Ah, good.
Yeah, I was discussing with him today about, when he first entered their organization, and he had this way of thinking about how marketing was, and he's built up all of this evidence within his own organization to try to teach and convince others, that this is the way of doing things, and the way that they'd been doing them for, 10, 20, 30 years before maybe was slightly ill-informed. Yeah, so the story there that you have, I seem to be finding a little bit of a commonality here. So did you find that compared to, 2010, 11, 12, when you were starting to get exposed to, the work that was essentially set up by the likes of Andrew Ehrenberg decades and decades ago, have you found that that struggle has diminished by any means, or?
Yeah, so I think so Julien and so I think what we're finding of what I hear more often is that there's obviously many more people like myself who experienced something very similar, in the sense that they came across something it's inspired them to find out more for themselves and or convince others to pick up on it. But it's a I would say it's almost it's a classical example of you don't have a lot of reach. You're just there on your own, and it's really hard to be seen, essentially. So you need to find ways where you are obviously seen and heard, or heard more to have an impact. It's a classical marketing challenge, I'd say. So I think you get the impression I got the impression of being sort of isolated, which in a way you were, but there were likely many more people like myself who were all just, I think, struggling to find each other. That said, I don't know. I think I reached out to Byron very, very quickly. I think, and when I read the book, or maybe when he was just halfway through it, and then just literally, I think it was I asked him or was it maybe Jenny? I don't know. So who else is there? Maybe in Europe, in my region, that 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 I might get in touch with, etc., and things like that. And I think it was I was introduced to Polymeros. But he works in Denmark, and he's a professor at Aarhus University. Yeah, I don't know if you.
Yes.
Paul is.
Paul's a good friend of mine.
All right, great. Yeah, so he was sort of the first person that I was being sort of pointed to or introduced to as someone that might be, someone to get in touch with, at least. And I very quickly found out about Martin Weigel, not very sure whether it's Weigel or Weigel, who's head of planning at White & Kennedy in Amsterdam, and we met. So those are sort of the first few people that I got in touch with. But it has been, I don't know, I started writing about the stuff that I read about in the book, and sort of reflecting on things, trying to be, as I said, be more heard and seen, also hoping to sort of find other people to at least discuss and reflect on some of the things in the book, because at the beginning it's sort of, a lot of things felt really counterintuitive. So, discussing some of those things with people seemed like a sensible and good idea. But it wasn't really that easy to find people, to be honest. I sort of, if I look back on that period, it was a period where I was, in many cases, really introducing the book and the ideas to people, and then
and just having a lot of conversations and correspondence with people, but it was hard to find people who were at that point of time, I guess, as involved as I was.